We began this week with super high volatility as Trump took office, but following Monday, the price action for Bitcoin ever since has been really uncertain, no clear direction, and super low volume for trading. A lot of crypto enthusiasts were expecting Trump to make it a priority to sign an executive order related to cryptocurrency, and as each day goes by that we don't hear news on that, we slowly get more and more disappointed. But here's the thing, whilst the price right now might not be making for super exciting trading activity, one thing we do know is that we are going to be bullish eventually. There is so much happening right now that is fundamentally great for cryptocurrency, and it should catapult us into the final phase of the cycle. And that is going to bring in higher volumes eventually. And that means that this time, whilst the market is slow, it's actually your perfect time to plan for the next phase. For those of us that have been in crypto for more than a year, we've been waiting that entire time for retail to come in. We know that retail is what leads to the final phase of the cycle, and we've been patiently waiting for it for a really long time. Now, it might be that Trump coin actually has done that. I posted the stats of my last video on X today saying that it's the first time ever one singular video of mine on YouTube got over 650 subscribers. That's not normal for a channel of my size. I mean, that could be a sign that retail is finally here. Not only that, Trump boosts crypto apps in the US App Store. Crypto apps are having a moment. President Donald Trump's meme coin drives the hype. As of January, they dominated the finance category on Apple's US App Store. Crypto.com, Moonshot, and Coinbase are leading the pack. And globally, we do have other really good crypto news. Taiwan may allow local banks to issue stablecoins tied to the new Taiwan dollar. This is a proposal at this point in time. Tron has seen a 352% rise in whale activity over the last 24 hours, according to on-chain data from Into the Block. Is there something there that we don't know? And look, if all of that is not enough, John McAfee's wife has entered the scene, launching her own AI meme coin project called 𝗟𝗵𝗿𝗃, but there are concerns over its supply, so no, that is not a signal for you to go and buy it. So with all of these things going on, but the price not actually moving, what can we be spending our time doing right now? This is actually the most perfect time. Whilst the market is slow and kind of stable, it's actually the perfect time for you to be taking a look at your total portfolio, decide what you should offload before the next phase, and what you should hold on to, or what you should potentially even add to. Don't forget, tomorrow we have a very important news event with the Bank of Japan policy rate announcement, and that may cause some sort of a move in the market. If you are prepared ahead of that, you'll be able to exploit that movement. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Big special welcome to all of my newest subscribers. It's great to have you here. Be sure to smash that like button nice and early. And if you are not yet subscribed, which 27% of my viewers are not, also consider subscribing so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Bitcoin price first. This is the price action that we've been dealing with so far. I'm currently on the 1 hour time frame, and this is why people are starting to get a little bit bored and frustrated, because it feels really quite uncertain. Are we up? Are we down? The volume has been really quite annoying and low, other than the Monday move that we had. I'm personally not trading this week. Price action like this doesn't excite me. That's why I had to build the other plan of using this time to make longer term investment decisions. But some things that I want to point out to you on this chart so far is that we do have currently a large level of short orders waiting at about $103,500, which is where the initial high of today is. So price might make a retracement to there. If we have weakness, we would then expect some sort of rejection, and that might take us down a little bit further. All of these levels down here are the closest liquidity, so people that will get liquidated if price returns there. And that's quite a large zone between about 97,500 to about 100K even. That wouldn't necessarily mark the bottom though. It's dependent on the movement, how it comes in at the time, and whether we start to actually create a trend. We want a more clearer trend than what we have now. And if it does get worse than that, we do still have this cluster of high level orders waiting at about 90,300 to 91,200. If we were to get that, that would essentially just take us back to the bottom of the daily range where we had this spike last time. So So on a smaller time frame, it might look scary, but when you zoom out to the daily, it would simply be Bitcoin just staying within its range. And if it bounced out of that area, that could actually present a good buying opportunity. However, once everyone starts to expect us to revisit 90K, that's often when it doesn't happen. So I would definitely be keeping an eye on this cluster first that I originally mentioned, see if a higher low gets created there, because if that happens, that would actually be bullish. So if price didn't break down any further, we would expect that we're going to break out next, at least revisit the prior resistance. And if we could get through that, we might start making our way up to eventually around the 120K region, because there are still shorts waiting there as well. However, if we do get into this cluster first and we cannot bounce there, that is when you would start looking for a potential bounce at around the 90K region. So when you have a look at the price on lower time frames and it's really kind of quite low volume, which means that if you wanted to trade this, your trades are taking forever to play out, which as a day trader, that's not really what you want either. So the way you could best utilize your time is to start building a plan in case Bitcoin does reach this level and bounce. What altcoins would you want to take a long position on if we were to revisit that level and bounce? And if we don't, what altcoins would you be wanting to get into when Bitcoin revisits its daily support level? Like I said earlier, we know that we are eventually bullish. We have a hint that retail is coming in due to the launch of Trump coin. We know that that means that that is the final phase of the cycle. I did a video earlier this week on how I'm reallocating my capital personally so that I can plan for this phase of the cycle. Because like I said in my tweet, 80% of your profits are made in the last 20% of the cycle. And the last 20% is when retail steps in. So that means that if it actually does turn out to be proven and there is this increase in interest in crypto now, then for people like us who have been investing for quite some time, this is going to be where our investments start to pay out, and we should be thinking about slowly taking profits as that happens. Like I said here, slowly taking profits could happen over months. It also could mean that it's last chance to buy anything you might want to buy. That's not my strategy. There's nothing I really want to buy right now. I'm moving in to take profit stage and offloading whatever is not performing stage. But nevertheless, this is the best time to plan. We do have one caution with the Bitcoin dominance now that I need to point out. So, in order for your altcoins to pump, we need the dominance to be dropping. And that's what happened through here, which is where we saw the initial pump. Now, what you should be doing for everything that you have in your portfolio, go back and have a look during this time where we saw altcoins start to perform really well and match that up to everything in your portfolio. If you had things here that didn't run in that time, you might want to consider offloading that and putting that into something else that did move during that time, because what it might mean is that you have underperformers. And if we really are in the last 20% of the cycle, we only want to be in the high achievers that are going to make us money. Here's an example of something that I would consider worth offloading. It doesn't even matter what the coin is, but you just look at the price action. We had this really long bear market, the long accumulation phase. Now at this point here, this is where you actually start getting interested in a coin. This is a great time to invest when it starts to bottom out after the bear market. But following that, you need to see the movement, the change in trend and shift out to the upside. So when you have a look at this, it actually started to perform quite well when the Bitcoin dominance did start dropping. Dominance dropped right here, and this is when we started to move through. Now, if this was worth holding on to, after that period, we would have seen a retracement that created the higher low. But when you actually look at it, that's not what is happening with this coin. We have the move back down, all the way back down to its prior support. Now, is this coin fundamentally good and will it pump eventually? Maybe, like probably everything would. However, it's already proving to you that when it moves, it can only move short term. So instead of holding on to something like this and hoping that when alt season hits, it's going to move out, this is something that I personally think is worth offloading. And in a case like this, if you fundamentally believed in this, you are better off buying back in later when you have a confirmed and sustained trend change, so that you know this thing is actually turning bullish from here, simply because you don't have enough time left to keep holding on to things now. The cycle is running out over the next few months. If you want to maximize the amount of money that you can make in those next few months, you need to let go of things that look like this, and instead you would be looking at price action like this. Now again, these are just examples, these are not recommendations, but if you were to look at any chart that has had its first impulsive move to the upside and is currently retracing but still creating a higher low, then this is where you start to watch out and consider investing when you have the final confirmation. On this particular one, we don't have the final confirmation, so this is just a trade idea, but you want to see it settle and hold support now. And if it can do that and then finally give a bullish engulfing or a star formation or railroad track, some sort of daily time frame reversal candlestick confirmation, that's going to tell you this is finished its retracement and it's about to take its next move to the upside. And because it's already started and had the retracement, we're looking just for continuation of the trend, and you'll end up making your money much faster than holding on to something like the last one I showed you where its breakout was very short-lived. Now in this example, should you not get the final confirmation here, there's actually many areas below the current price where you would still be looking for it to settle because there's many vector candles here. Now if you're brand new to this channel, you might not know what a vector candle is. To give you just a very brief explanation, as you can see, my candles have all different colors. That's not normal. You probably don't see that on many channels, but my candles are colored to let me know where the highest volume is coming in relation to the 10 candles prior to it. And the reason that I care about that is because that is an assumption that that is where the big money is coming in, because retail doesn't tend to be able to come in with a high amount of volume enough to spike the market so much. And so we don't want to really be following retail traders. We want to be following the big money. And this particular indicator that you're looking at, it is a custom indicator that comes with a Trade Travel Chill membership. If you're wanting to learn our trading strategies, you can consider taking out a membership, and the membership gives you access to all of our courses, our private community, our multiple live sessions daily, as well as our customized indicators. But in the meantime, if you're just wanting to have a feel around for yourself, you can get a different indicator that looks similar to this. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough for you to be able to add. So you will need to have a TradingView account, and then you just go up to this indicators tab and you can type in these letters PVSRA, and you look for this one here, PVSRA candles auto override, and you'll see that it's created by us. So that's our free version for you guys watching this channel, and you can play around with it to read the description to understand exactly how it works. But when we have retracements looking to the left, any vector candles on the initial move up, they become our targets to look for price to settle when it returns there. So because we have so many vector candles in this example, you would just be waiting to see in which one of these candles does it slow down. There's other tools you can add. I won't go into them in this video because it will get a little bit too advanced, but as a very basic strategy, you're just looking left at vector candles to wait and see where the price ends up settling, either creating support, holding a level, coming back to an EMA, creating a W formation. There's a few different reasons why you would get involved when price returns to a vector candle. Now, let's just say, for example, it turns out to be this level, and I want to be very clear that it's not right now. This is not a confirmed area to buy. It's still wait, because this here is a bearish candlestick formation. So I really am just using this as an example and not a hint for you to get in. But using the trend-based fibs, we can easily draw our targets on this. And I'm going to do actually a more detailed video on Elliott waves and trend-based fibs, because those are two things that I use in the bull market to know where to start taking profits on my altcoins. So if you want that video, please leave me a comment down below and let me know, because I can either just make it a private video for the community or I can make it public for YouTube. So in order for me to make it public on YouTube, I need to know that there is an interest for me to do that. So definitely leave me a comment down below. And so in this example, if it did turn out that this ended up being support and we got to our third take profit, it's 115% increase. But in addition to that, that would likely only be the completion of wave 3 of the Elliott wave, meaning there's actually further upside to go in this. And so something that looks like this presents a lot better opportunity than the previous one that I showed you, where it's just flattening out and the moves to the upside are very short-lived. So coming back to Bitcoin dominance, if we do want to see an alt season, there's a bit of a risk here right now. There's a pro and a con for it to happen. So I want to point out both, because we really need to see the dominance come down down if we're to have alt season. I will hide this to show you the positive first. And the positive is that it looks like we are in a ascending triangle. And with an ascending triangle, it's a continuation pattern from the trend prior. So the trend would have been this here, right? So that's where the trend started, which is a move to the downside. So that's a bearish trend. So if this triangle actually completes and it does what it typically does, we may see a breakdown eventually of this trend line. And following that, we would get a higher low, which would likely retest an EMA, any of these here. And that's where we would start to believe that, okay, the dominance is going to start heading down even further. And that is our signal to go in on our alts, on our good alts, and to ride them through the final phase with clear take profit targets. Again, that whole thing is going to require an entire video. So I will only make it if you leave comments down below and let me know that you want it. So that's the good news for your altcoins. However, we also have the other side, which could play out something like this. And that is that we potentially have the beginnings of a W formation here. So if price continues moving up and it eventually breaks above this center peak right here, which is at about 59%, then we would expect the Bitcoin dominance, did I say price? I didn't mean price. But if the Bitcoin dominance continues to move up through here, we would expect it's going to break and go to the next resistance next, which means that all the strength is still in Bitcoin and it's still not yet alt season. So there's good and bad right now, and the price action is just completing the pattern either way. But we should get some sort of confirmation soon because we are coming to the pointy end of that triangle. And that means that dominance is something you should monitor daily if you're wanting to invest in altcoins. Just go to this chart. It's BTC.D. Look at it on a high time frame. I'm on the daily time frame. Make your chart look the same as mine. And you can even set an alert on this trend line here, and you can also set an alert on this top trend line here. You simply just click on the line, click on alert, and then you can write in there anything that you want to write. That will then signal to you when it breaks one of these levels. You can then come back to the chart, check out what's happening, and that's going to enable you to make a better decision as to whether or not you should be continuing to buy into alts or starting to prepare a plan for further potential downside. Now, if we do get that trigger to put our last dollars and cents into altcoins, you're going to need somewhere to be buying those on. So check out BINGX. BINGX is one of the exchanges I trade on. I've been using BINGX for a really long time. And especially if you want to buy some low market cap coins, they tend to list them earlier than most other exchanges. But BINGX has everything you need. It has spot if you want to buy spot. It has derivatives as well. And if you use the link in the description down below, you will get 20% rebate on all of your trading fees for life, which does add up over time, because trading fees can really get you, especially when the funding rates start to increase a lot, which is what will happen in a bull market. So heading into tomorrow, let's have a look at our up and downside targets that we have currently. So you can see the cluster right here of buy orders. As I mentioned earlier, they're between about 90,300 to about 91,200 currently. And we do still have like super low orders down here at 78,000. So don't worry about those just yet. We need to see what happens if price returns here first. So number one, we would have to initially return to this level. Then when returning there, we would have to see how the price is from there if we get any kind of reversal confirmations telling us the bottom's in. And if we don't, if we continue to see weakness, we would then start to build the plan for a potential further downside to the 78K. So don't get freaked out about 78K for now. If anything, in this stage of the cycle, those sorts of low buyers shouldn't freak you out. They should be opportunities to buy as well, because like I said at the beginning of this video, we know we are eventually bullish, and that presents the best opportunity for us. To the upside, these are the short-term orders at 103,500. I've already mentioned those to you. They are where the current initial high of the day is. If we go through there and we don't chop them up, then that could see a lower high that leads to further downside. Further above that, we still have shorts at $114,000. So if we were to get our bounce, that would be our target after the current high at about 108. And then we did previously have fairly large orders at 120,000, but they're not there currently. They've been removed. You can see it was red here and now it's gone. So those orders are gone. So we would be more interested in around the 114 after we break the current all-time high. But I do once again just want to make the reminder that we do have Bank of Japan policy rate tomorrow, and that could be really unpredictable. It could lead to a rally if they don't increase the rates. It could also lead to a further sell-off and further unwind of the carry trade, which was something that saw some downside previously the last time they increased the interest rates. So what's the likelihood of that happening? I don't think that is any of our business. Building an opinion before the actual news comes out can sometimes marry you to an idea that can end up biting you. So when there are news events, I don't tend to draw my own conclusion of the likelihood of one or other happening. I just like to know that it's happening, when it's happening, and then use the price action to tell me how to act. And so I build my plan prior, which is what I've just done with you in this video. And then when the actual news comes out, I've got my plan for upside, I've got my plan for downside, and all I have to do is react. So if you're wanting to know when to react, that policy rate is set to come out 7:30 a.m. Dubai time, and you can use a website called forexfactory.com/calendar, which will show it to you in your time zone. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and let me know if you want that take profit target video using the Elliott waves and trend-based fibs for alt season, so that you can make sure you have clear targets, you know where you're getting out, and you don't end up this cycle being a bag holder. See you on the next one.